And we want to make a lot of time for question and answer. So I'll try to keep my remarks fairly brief. I think Trustee Spear will do the same. And because we really want to hear from you. We value your opinion. We value having an open discussion. And so I would also just ask, try to keep your questions and comments fairly brief. We'll try to keep our answers also brief. And that way we can hear from as many people as possible. So look, I think this is a different discussion than we had this morning with predominantly administrators and faculty. And for students, I think there's probably a lot of things that you like or love about New College. Is that right? Great. I hear from students, from faculty, from alumni. They say, hey, look, there is a kind of magic to the New College style. It's unorthodox. It's based on student contracts. It's heavy one-to-one education. It's self-directed. You're really responsible for your learning. I think that is great, and I think that's something to build on, not something to get rid of or jettison or overturn. And I spent a lot of time the last 2 weeks looking into the historical archives, and so having the library send me documents about New College, about the founding of the college, the vision of the college, and I think there is something that we have to respect, something that we have to return to, and I think a lot of those principles that we have to revitalize. And so a classical liberal arts education modeled on New College at Oxford, modeled at the University of Edinburgh, those great institutions of higher learning in Western Europe, was the vision of folks. And look, another thing that is really remarkable about New College that is a place to build on and really a place to honor and respect is that in 1959, before all of you were born, before I was born, all Florida universities, public and private, had racially discriminatory admissions process. So there were no universities at that time that had open admissions. This is before the Civil Rights Act of 1964. New College was the first. The trustees, the founders came together and they said, we're going to prioritize academic excellence, the pursuit of brilliance, self-discovery, and we are adopting a policy to have an open admissions process that does not discriminate on the basis of race, color, creed, national origin, et cetera. That was a really historic moment here in the state and really reflecting of these of historical progress nationally. And so I think that is another thing that is a great strength. There are weaknesses. I mean, there are problems. I wouldn't be here if there were not serious problems. And ultimately, this is a public institution. And the public gets to decide how it's going to be governed through their legislators, through their governor. If this were a private institution, it'd be a total different set of rules. But this is a public college. And ultimately, we have to enact, as trustees, the will of the public as expressed through their elected representatives. This is the democratic process why we're sitting here. And look, the state has very clear frustrations. Legislators have been considering in recent years dissolving the college altogether and parceling out its assets and absorbing them elsewhere in the public university system. That's a serious proposal, and I think a bad proposal, frankly, and a proposal that I imagine that none of you would support. We have an opportunity to do something different. We have an opportunity, the governor, whether you like him or whether you don't like him, I personally like him a lot, has said we're going to actually do something very different. We're going to try to improve the college. We're going to try to invest in the college. We're going to try to get those performance numbers up for the college. And look, administrators, have a certain set of concerns. But what I'm concerned, and I hope that you're all concerned with, is a couple of key things. We want to increase the value of your degree to you personally, intellectually, as well as in your own career objectives. And some of the numbers, if I were a student, if I were considering it, or if I was maybe one of your parents saying, oh, is this going to lead to good outcomes, are pretty rough. Among the 12 Florida public universities, last. And about half of New College grads, so within 1 year of education, are neither employed nor in graduate school. And so that's a big problem, I think. And then look, the median wage coming out of New College 1 year after graduation is low. It's $32,000. And it's not up to me. The Board of Governors has these metrics, and that's what they're measuring. And I think, of course, it's not all important. And I told the last group this, when I graduated from Georgetown as undergraduate, I became a documentary filmmaker. I traveled around the world. I directed films for PBS, and I was flat broke. I mean, I made significantly less than $32,000 the first year out of college. And so it's not the only measurement. And I don't even necessarily say it's the best measurement, But it is a measurement that's important to legislators, to the public. And so I would just say this before we get into this. The big problem that I see, and perhaps some of you disagree with, but when I talk to people behind closed doors, when I talk to folks that are in the community, they say, hey, we have a culture problem. The consultants' reports indicate it. This is something that has been known but unspoken. And so this is our time to address that problem. And I want to have a campus where everyone feels included, where everyone feels like they have a right to speak, where everyone feels that they can even disagree with their peers, their professors, their administrators, knowing that we have established a wider lane for discourse, a wider lane for the life of the mind. And we really want to have a robust culture of open and free discourse and debate. And again, you don't have to trust me, you don't have to like me, but this is long known, long established by the university prior to our arrival, by the consultants prior to our arrival, and we're going to try to set a new tone. And I think what happened this morning was really indicative of what we're trying to do. Someone, we don't know who, although I think we'll find out who in time, put a death threat towards Trustee Spear here on the New College email system somehow. We're not really clear why. And so this is very serious. And there was a debate. There was a kind of vigorous debate in the hallway earlier. And there were a number of people who said, we need to shut it down. Cancel the event, back off, lay down, curl up into a ball, and hide. We want to just deny that there's a problem. We want to just avoid having a discussion. We want to, conflict is the scariest thing, and if the first sign of conflict, we're gonna run away. There's a problem with that, because what it does is it delegates the ultimate authority to maybe even one person who's willing to make a threat of violence, who's willing to try to shut down debate, who's willing to try to silence the democratic process, the democratic governance of this university, this college. And so Trustee Spear and I had a vigorous debate with some of the administrators, the current administrators here. And we established a new standard. We said, you know what? We have incredible police officers from 3 different departments here. I mean, really top-notch professionals and ensuring our safety. And they said, look, we feel that this is worth the risk. We feel that we're protected by the law enforcement here. And we feel that if we were to back down, we are confirming the exact problem that we're trying to solve. And so we made the decision to override the administrators, to override the president and the provost. As trustees, we took a vote. And we said, we're establishing a new standard of discourse here. And we had an amazing dialogue. And look, they were friends and activist professors, and they had very, very spirited opinions. But we did it in a way that established trust, that established some foundational principles, and established a new tone. And I'd like to do that. And for those of you who are saying, Chris Rufo, right wing, Governor DeSantis, major concerns, my goal is not to say, let's replace the left-wing orthodoxy with the right-wing orthodoxy. That's not my goal at all. My goal is to say, let's expand the bounds of public debate. Let's have more people able to participate. Let's have a wider variety of opinions that can be debated and discussed and articulated without fear of intimidation, without fear of bullying, without fear of threats of violence. And we've done that. And we've established a new tone just from the morning session that did not exist here yesterday. We've expanded the realm of public discourse, including very left-wing opinions on campus, which are welcome. But we're establishing new guidelines, new standards, and I hope we can all live up to that. And I promise to you, look, you can talk to me, you can call me, you can argue with me, you can yell at me. I will listen to you. We have a job to do. We're going to do the job, but we're not going to try to suppress your opinion. We're not going to try to stifle debate. We're not going to try to create a one orthodoxy in replacement of another. And so I think that we have an opportunity to do that, and I look forward to hearing from Trustee Spear and then from all of you.